He struck terror into entire cities. He became the cause of panic, fear, and ruined lives. Serhiy Tkach, the Pavlohrad Maniac, pedophile, necrophile, rapist, serial killer. From 1980 to 2005, 37 confirmed murders. In total, over 100 victims, mostly young girls. He knew how the police worked and eluded investigators for more than 25 years. Even the clairvoyant Vanga tried to find him. But they found, not him, but those who had nothing to do with the crimes. One of them took his own life. Another was executed. This is the story of one of the most brutal killers in the history of the USSR and Ukraine. The story of a beast who pretended to be human. The Pavlohrad Maniac. Over 100 victims. And not a single trace. Serhiy Tkach was born on September 15, 1952. In the town of Kiselyovsk, Kemerovo region. He grew up in a large family, where there were many children, but little time for them. His parents worked in the mines from dawn to dusk. Children's misbehavior was met with harsh punishments. The youngest, Serhiy, suffered the most. He was a sickly, withdrawn, and quiet child. His frail build made him an easy target for bullying. Rumor has it Tkach even saw a psychiatrist as a child. Trying to toughen up, he turned to sports. He took up weightlifting and achieved some success. He became city champion among juniors. Won prizes in district competitions. He was a candidate for Master of Sport. But everything changed after one failed training session. He seriously injured a tendon in his left arm. Sports were over. Because of the injury, he was not accepted into the Omsk Institute of Physical Culture. He had no interest in other fields. Tkach joined the army. He served in Tixi Bay, on the Laptev Sea. Worked with aerial photography and decoding. He was captivated by the sea. He decided to apply to the Sevastopol Naval School. Passed the exams successfully. But once again, failure. The medical board found heart problems. He was expelled. Sent back to complete his service. The blow was so hard that Tkach attempted to take his own life. The attempt failed. After that, he was discharged. He stayed in Tixi to earn some money. There he got a job with the dog catching service. His colleagues shot the animals. Tkach beat them with rebar. He took particular pleasure in skinning them. He sold the pelts to local craftsmen. Paradoxically, he later got a dog of his own. The animal became his friend, to whom he poured out his soul. After saving some money, he returned to Kiselyovsk. Upon returning home, Tkach got a job in the police. At first, as a junior criminal investigator. Later, he trained to become a forensic expert. He enrolled in the Novosibirsk Police School of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Studied remotely. But in 1979, he was dismissed. He forged official documents at his local police department. The violation was quickly discovered. Tkach was expelled from the special school. By that time, he already had a family. Things with women seemed outwardly fine. But inside, resentment and anger were building. In 7th grade, he fell in love with a girl a year younger. She refused to be intimate with him. According to him, that's when something inside him broke. His relationship with his wife was tense. Frequent quarrels. Constant conflicts. After being fired from the police, Tkach went to work at a railway station. He started drinking heavily. Set a record, a bottle of vodka in 13 seconds. Fights at home became more frequent. In 1980, after another argument, he took his son and left for his parents. They lived in the village of Skvortsovo, Crimea. A few days later, his wife arrived. She demanded he return the child. Tkach refused. Under the pretense of saying goodbye, the woman asked him to bring the boy to the airport. There, a police unit was already waiting. And a court order. The child was taken away. Tkach was detained for a couple of days. When he returned, he found out his wife and child had flown away. He snapped. That day became the day of his first murder. Tkach drank 2 bottles of wine. On the street, he noticed a young woman. He attacked her from behind. Pressed her carotid artery. When she stopped showing signs of life, he assaulted her. Then he panicked. He called the police. Confessed. But didn't wait for the officers. He fled. The investigation hit a dead end. The killer wasn't found. Tkach realized he could kill and remain unpunished. He didn't return to Kiselyovsk. He moved to Pavlohrad, Dnipropetrovsk region. Married again. In 1983, his daughter was born. But the craving for murder wouldn't let go. Now he was interested not only in adult women, but also children. 1984. Pavlohrad. A 10-year-old girl was on her way to music school. She never made it. The maniac ambushed her near an abandoned factory. He attacked. The girl was killed. After that, he defiled the body. Then disappeared, taking the victim's personal belongings. This became his signature. He would take dolls, notebooks, lipstick, watches from the crime scene. As if collecting other people's lives. Almost no traces were left behind. He had it all planned. He knew how forensic experts worked. He had once studied at a police school himself. Victims couldn't identify him. No fingerprints or evidence remained on the body. He used a bicycle, fled along creosote-soaked tracks. He knew the dogs wouldn't follow the trail. He hid the bodies near highways. To confuse investigators. And it worked. He committed his first child murder and vanished. But that was only the beginning. February 23, 1985. Pavlohrad. The maniac attacked a second-grade girl. She was walking home alone. Her mother had been delayed at the clinic and couldn't meet her. Tkach intercepted the girl near her home. Dragged her into a basement. The victim died. Once again, he covered his tracks and took her belongings. After that, top detectives from across the Soviet Union were sent to Pavlohrad. They even sought help from the psychic Vanga. But the search for the killer yielded no results. Tkach was detained multiple times as a suspect, but was always released. Often by bribing police officers. He became bolder with each attack, even near investigators. Once, knowing of an ambush in the forest, he waited until the officers left for lunch. And committed a new crime right near their post. By the year 2000, there had been about 30 attacks in Pavlohrad. Many of them ended in the victim's death. In 2000, Tkach's family moved to the city of Pavlohrad. His wife got a promotion and became deputy director of an oil plant. Tkach held back for a while, but eventually resumed his crimes. Now he became known as the Pavlohrad Maniac. In Pavlohrad, they found the bodies of women and girls who had been strangled and assaulted. One 9th-grade girl died near an apartment building. Another, a 13-year-old schoolgirl, was killed in a grove. Gray hairs were found on one victim's body. But the investigation didn't follow the evidence. It targeted the innocent. A man was arrested who had simply walked by that day. He had no gray hair. But they broke him. With threats to assault his wife and run over his 2-year-old daughter. He signed a confession. Served 4.5 years. That was just the first case. Others were imprisoned for Tkach's crimes. They were beaten. Broken. Intimidated. One father, who lost his daughter, couldn't take the pressure and hanged himself in jail. His own wife had written a report on him. Investigators convinced her he had killed their daughter. The woman was fired from her job. Their house was set on fire. She survived on the edge of poverty. And there were more than 10 such cases. One teenager found a body under a bridge. He simply called the police. But they accused him of a murder. He was beaten. Threatened. He signed a confession. 8 years in prison. Constant abuse from cellmates. One tractor driver, a colleague of Tkach, was walking through the forest. They pinned an assault on him too. He was beaten until he signed. His leg was broken. 10 years in a high-security colony. There was even a case where the accused was disabled. He physically couldn't raise his arms. But he was still held in pre-trial detention for 2 months. One of the accused was executed. Another ended up in a psychiatric hospital. Not a single police officer involved in these cases was imprisoned. At most, they were fired. Meanwhile, Tkach continued to kill. The year was 2005. The number of victims had already exceeded 30. The investigation was at a dead end. But Tkach made a mistake. He attacked an 18-year-old girl. Met her in a garden plot. Seemed polite. Then, attacked. Strangled her. Checked her pulse. Was sure she was dead. But the girl survived. Even came back from clinical death. And remembered her attacker. Mustached. Tall. Strange. A composite sketch was created based on her description. All local men with mustaches were questioned. Including Tkach. But the girl didn't recognize him. But he recognized her. He started watching her. Planned to finish the job. But didn't make it. August 2005. A local lake. Children are playing by the water. Tkach is lying on the beach. Waiting for the right moment. When the older kids went swimming, he attacked a 9-year-old girl. Killed and assaulted her. But a fisherman was watching him. He remembered Tkach's face. Saw him again at the victim's funeral. The maniac showed up himself. Pretending to mourn. Thinking he'd get away with it. He was wrong. The fisherman reported it to the police. Tkach was arrested. He didn't resist. Got into the police vehicle and said, "I've been waiting for you for 25 years. And started confessing everything. He drew maps. With precision down to a single bush. Recalled his victims like reading a list. Confessed to 100 crimes. The investigation proved 37. All in Ukraine. Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, Kharkiv regions, and Crimea. He said, "I wanted to rub it in the faces of my former colleagues. To prove I'm smarter." That's why he killed in daylight. In crowded places. Without fear. Without shame. He dreamed of surpassing Chikatilo. Wanted a movie made about him. Script, for $1 million. Director, Steven Spielberg. That's what he said. In reality, he got life in prison. The trial was in 2008. The verdict, life sentence. Psychiatrists declared him sane. But diagnosed him with Herostratus syndrome, the desire to become famous through crime. He spent 10 years behind bars. There, he got married. To a 27-year-old Russian woman through correspondence. They even had a daughter. He tried selling interviews. Demanded $1 million. Said he'd give some to the victims. The rest, to his children. But soon, his wife disappeared. Changed her number. Stopped writing. On November 4, 2018, Serhiy Tkach died. Official cause, heart failure. He was 66. No one claimed his body. He was buried in an ordinary cemetery in Zhytomyr region, without a name. But satanic rituals were performed on his grave. Thus ended the life of one of the most terrifying killers in the history of Ukraine and the USSR. If you want to hear more dark stories, hit like and subscribe. Until next time. The truth is always scarier than fiction.